And that's another, big component of something the chamber does is advocacy is a huge part of it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And, really watching to see what's going on the state, local, and federal level, right? On
Yeah.
things that are impacting, our businesses. And so that's a
Yeah.
big thing that we do and we follow at the
Yeah.
Boise Metro.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this episode of the Marketing Expedition Podcast, I get to speak with Bobbi-Jo Meuleman, and she has assumed the leadership of the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce as the CEO and president since October of 2023. The role includes overseeing the organization's tourism division, Visit Boise, and economic development division, Boise Valley Economic Partnership. She was selected for her extensive experience with governmental affairs and economic development, as well as her passion for promoting and supporting and advocating for Treasure Valley businesses. Her career in government was founded in Washington, D.C., while working for Congressman Denny Rayburg and Senator Conrad Burns. From 2009 and 2016, she served as in the office of Idaho Governor Butch Otter as a scheduler and then as his deputy chief of staff. In 2016, she pursued a position managing department staff and operations as the chief operating officer of the Idaho Department of Commerce. She was then soon promoted to director and had the opportunity to lead economic development efforts for the Gem State. Additionally, she fosters methods to assist communities, citizens, businesses, and visitors. Prior to becoming the CEO and president of the Boise Metro Chamber, she was working as the deputy chief of staff for Governor Brad Little. She conducted governmental affairs with Idaho's federal, state, county, city, and tribal partners. And over the course of her career, she's earned several distinctions, including the 2022 Associated General Contractors President's Cup Award, the 2020 Women's and Children's Alliance Twin Award, and in 2018, Idaho Economic Development President's Award. 2017, she was an Idaho Business Review's Accomplished Under 40. And she has received her Bachelor of Arts from the University of Montana in Political Science with an emphasis in human resource management. She lives in Boise with her husband Patrick and their sons Wyatt and Wayne and their dog Pete. And we're going to talk all about the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce, the Valley, all the wonderful things that the Chamber of Commerce is doing, and what a treat we get to have her in our studio, in our podcast recording studio here in Nampa, Idaho, in the Treasure Valley. And we will get to that interview. But first, it's time for your Marketing Essentials moments, the basics that you need to help you continue to build your brand and your bottom line. For this Marketing Essentials moment, I wanted to dig in more on LinkedIn and how we're using LinkedIn for us and for our clients, and some success stories of things that are working and seemingly working pretty well. And it definitely is a pay to play situation. I mean, we can obviously use LinkedIn organically to generate connections and message people that are connected with, unless you have the premium version where you can do a certain amount of in-mails and outreach that way. But we've done some awareness campaigns in specifically geographically targeted areas, and then followed up with a form fill. And that's nice because LinkedIn will automatically fill in the information based on the person's profile. And it has been one way for us to generate leads for our clients, and they're specific to the types of leads that we want to get for them, so that they can use this information to then follow up and ideally conduct new business because of it and our results. So just thinking about the different types of advertisements that you can do on LinkedIn, and ways that you can help with either the building of the awareness, which is not necessarily the call to action, but it's just building awareness, getting people to see your message in front of them on a regular, ongoing basis to get the right reach, the right frequency, the right geographic area, the right titles that we're targeting, the types of people that you want to do business with. So let's look at and think about the different ways that we can do the awareness campaigns versus the lead gens, or doing some follower ads, or just different things. So A carousel ad is an interactive story that can inspire your prospects to take some kind of action. And the nice thing about it is it's interactive, right? It'll have multiple screens where people can see multiple messages from those carousel ads. Then another way to go about it is what's called conversation ads. This can help start quality conversations with those right fit professionals that you want, that you can choose who you want the message to get in front of. And then they can choose their own path of experience with that in the explore conversation ads. And then, of course, there's event ads, and having events on LinkedIn is a way to invite those particular types of people that you want to come within a geographic region. You can use filters. You can do things by inviting people from specific companies or areas or regions that you want, different types of titles that you want to attract, and then maximize the attendance of your LinkedIn events by highlighting the key event details and having a hook and a way to get people interested in clicking on the ad to then maybe potentially attend your event. And you can have events on LinkedIn where you can then lead them to an event ticketing site, whether it's going to be a webinar or an in-person or a hybrid event. Then you can specifically get those types of people that you want to come to your event. Another type of LinkedIn ad is a follower ad. So that way we promote the business page on LinkedIn to basically acquire new followers on your page. And this helps because now we're gaining more people to follow your page. We can interact with them organically. We can put newsletters on your LinkedIn articles and things that people can then look at inside of LinkedIn. And then, of course, the one I was talking about earlier is the lead gen form. So we can collect more quality leads using ads on LinkedIn with these seamless pre-filled forms. And we can also have some custom questions. It is a little bit limited. You don't want to have too much to where people have this barrier to entry and they don't want to fill out a whole bunch of information, but they still are interested in what it is that you're offering to them. Another thing that you can do is message ads. So, this is direct messages sent to your prospects to spark that immediate action and website traffic. And this is helpful because now it's getting directly to the person that you think you want to have engage with you. Then there's single image ads. We can run native ads in the LinkedIn feed with an engaging visual across desktop or mobile. And it's just a single image with a message that you can do to then be able to get inside the feed of people's in their feeds. And then you show up in front of them that way. There's also ads to do for if you're hiring, you can drive quality candidates to your LinkedIn job posts that you've got. And then we can also do spotlight ads to showcase your product or your service or your event, all to increase website traffic to your landing page. And these spotlight ads can help with driving that traffic to your landing page. And then, of course, you can have a form fill there or some sort of call to action there, just driving that traffic to help build SEO awareness organically, well, through paid ads through LinkedIn. But more traffic to your website means more organic search results that can happen. Then you can also do text ads. So we can drive new customers to your business on a budget, and they are just much simpler, easy, and they're, the ability to just do the pay-per-click advertising platform. But there's no visuals with them. They're just text ad. You can have your logo next to it, but that's about it. And then the cool thing that we're doing a lot more of, and I continuously explore these and am having a wonderful time experiencing how video ads are working on LinkedIn. So captivating the audience in native video in every stage of the customer's journey then will lead to more results because people want to watch video. And especially if you have the captions on, sometimes people will look at the video but not listen to it. So we make audio agnostic, meaning that it can be turned on or not, and you can still understand what's going on in the video if you have the captions or if you're telling a story through visuals in those audio ads. So thinking about the different ways that you can go about getting LinkedIn to help you with your ad campaign in your marketing mix, right? It's not the end all be all. You have to have a whole marketing mix in order to do multiple things to reach the target audiences. But LinkedIn is definitely one tactic that we have been seeing a lot more success in. And then we can also cross promote. We can get people to sign up for a newsletter or subscribe to the newsletters within LinkedIn. We can get people to then go to the landing page and get them to sign up for your email newsletter. So now we're doing multiple things to reach the audience in multiple different ways, because we know that it takes 17 to 22 ways to get in front of somebody before they even acknowledge or realize that they have even been exposed to your brand. Sometimes that's just the way it works, unless we're doing some tactics to help accelerate word of mouth advertising or ways to get more people to talk about your brand, aside from just yourself, right? So there's just different tactics that we can take utilizing LinkedIn. And if this is something that you would like to explore with us and see some of the successes that we've been having with our clients, then get a hold of us, right? You can reach out to us. We're basically anywhere on the internet that you search the word Peppershock Media. We're there. I'm there. My name is Ray, RHEA. And then, of course, Alan. So just find us a way to reach out to us, or you can even go to peppershock.com/book-Ray, RHEA, and book 15 minutes with me and talk to me, and let's see what we can do. If LinkedIn is a strategy that you really want to explore more of, I'd love to leverage the experiences that we've had with our current clients and then see how we can help you in your marketing journey and all the wonderful things that we get to do. But now it's time to get into our interview. Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest is Bobbi-Jo Meuleman. She's the president of the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the show, Bobbi-Jo.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Excellent. So I always like to just give a brief overview of your history and the things that you've done. And I know you've done some amazing things before you became the president of the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce. But let's just share a little bit about Bobbi-Jo.
Yeah. Well, I came from a 20-year government career to the Boise Metro Chamber. I started out my political career, I guess you could say, right out of college. Working for a senator from Montana, where I was born and raised. And it was out there that I met my husband, who was also working for a senator, but he was working for a senator from Idaho. And we got engaged, and I came out here. At the time we got engaged, I was working at that time then for a congressman from Montana. And the congressman I was working for was good friends with Governor Butch Otter. They had served in Congress together. So when we moved out to Idaho, I didn't know anyone. And he made a connection into Governor Otter's office for me. And I was fortunate enough to get a job in Governor Otter's office. Mm-hmm. I worked as his scheduler for 7 years, and then was his deputy chief of staff the last 2 years, as well as I was in his personal office. Mm-hmm. And then had the opportunity to go over to the Department of Commerce and worked there for a couple years. The last year I was there, I was the director. And then when Governor Little ran and won for governor, I went back into a governor's personal office as his deputy chief of staff and was there for 6 years. And then now here I am at the Boise Metro Chamber.
All right. Okay. I can't imagine being the scheduler for the governor. That seems like in and of itself, if you can manage that, you can manage anything, right?
Yeah, it is. I always say it's the best job to get to know people.
Yeah.
And yeah, you build a really strong connection, right? You're managing their lives. And so, you have to think about a lot of things for them. And, you kind of get it from every angle, right? Because everyone wants to meet with them. And the nice thing, because I was a scheduler for the congressman in D.C., and that's when Montana was still an at-large state. And so when he would come home for like summer recess in August, I would have to plan out all those days, right? And that would mean like time it took to drive, you got to consider all the stops. And so that was the one thing when I started working for a governor. He has security, right? He has a detail. And so it's like, that's nice because you don't have to worry about the logistics of like, you have to book travel and stuff. But that made it a little, that was nice. But it's a pretty crazy job for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then to be able to move on from that, learn all that you did, get all the connections that you made, and then go to Department of Commerce and all the wonderful places that you've been
in and around Idaho businesses for a long time now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I feel like I have a lot of really great relationships with the business community
Yeah.
in the Treasure Valley and throughout Idaho.
Yeah. Did you ever imagine that you would end up as the president of a chamber of commerce?
Never.
Never?
Never. No.
And so now you've been doing it for what, a little over a year?
Yeah, it was a year in October.
And what expectations, what kind of surprised you about this position?
I would say I had no idea how many things a chamber is involved in.
Aha. Yeah. A lot.
A lot,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they're all really great, fun,
Yeah.
positive things. I didn't know how much they touch, right?
Yeah.
And so that I think has been and continues to be probably the biggest eye opening to me. Is there's just a lot
That the
that
chamber
we're part
can do.
of.
Yeah. Well, let's name some of those things that the chamber or any chamber really does for the community.
Yeah, well, obviously we have our membership, and so advocating for our businesses and our members, supporting them, that's number one, right?
Right.
And maintaining your businesses and trying to grow and sustain. But then we also have, right, there's a big community engagement component to it. We have a lot of marketing, and PR we do. We have leadership programs. We have 3 leadership programs within the chamber.
Well, and then I just saw that Leadership Boise is turning 50
Yes,
years old.
50 years old.
Yeah.
How exciting is that?
Yeah.
And so obviously with membership, we have a whole sales component. And then, the Boise Metro is unique too, because we have the tourism arm.
Right.
Visit Boise is part of the chamber. And
All in the
then
same building, all in the same roof.
building.
Yeah.
And same with our, the business attraction arm. BVEP, Boise
Yeah.
Valley Economic Partnership, is also part of the chamber.
Yeah.
So we have all of that. We have ambassadors, right? We have a great group of folks that help our members. They volunteer. They come to all of our ribbon cuttings and events. It's just you can go on and on and on and on about all the things we do.
I know. We just, one of our clients, Pella Windows and Doors, they did a joint chamber ribbon cutting. And then, of course, the company itself, the national brand is celebrating 100 years. But then the local Pella of Idaho, so Wyoming and Idaho, they're celebrating. And they had a new location with a big showroom. And it was a packed house because everybody was coming from all over. And it was wonderful to be there and meet and mingle and talk to people. And that's partly what is awesome about the chamber is because it's really about connecting those businesses and being able to generate more business. And like you said, with BVEP, Boise Valley Economic Partnership, bringing in tourism, bringing people in from all over, right? That's one of the initiatives that is a strong, I would say that the chamber does a lot to help advocate to make sure that business gets done in Idaho and stays in Idaho, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, it's a really fun part of our jobs, right? Is we get to advocate for businesses in the community, and that's a really cool thing to get to do.
Yeah. Even it's not necessarily a 501c3, right? It's a C6.
C6, yep.
And that, for those that don't know, basically gives you the ability to advocate and lobby in some components so that when lawmakers are making laws, you can almost be like a watchdog or a protector of small business or even just medium-sized businesses too, or just business in general, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another, big component of something the chamber does is advocacy is a huge part of it, right?
Yeah.
And, really watching to see what's going on the state, local, and federal level, right? On things that are impacting, our businesses. And so that's a big thing that we do and we follow at the Boise Metro.
What's one of the initiatives that you're working on right now to advocate for?
Well, so right now we have the Idaho legislature is in session. And so Idaho Launch, which was the education grant program that Governor Little passed a couple years ago, it gives $8,000 to graduating high school seniors to go to an Idaho institution. It's just a game changer for investing in our kids and the talent pipeline that we need for future business to support our business growth. So we've been highly engaged in that this session as it's got to get funded again this year. And so that's when we've been watching,
I can tell you from firsthand, full disclosure, my 17-year-old junior in high school in Idaho is taking full advantage of that. Yes, he is.
I love
He's
to
dual
hear that.
enrolled. He's in concurrent doing high school credit as well as going to Boise State and CWI, College of Western Idaho. And it's amazing because that $8,000, I mean, that's going to cover a lot of his credits and everything. So
that's
thank you for working on that.
Yes, no, I'm excited to hear about that. But we really try to focus, you look at it through a business lens and, obviously businesses want predictability. And so, making sure things aren't getting changed up on them, really allowing business to do business and not dictating what they can and cannot do. So watch a lot with taxes, obviously transportation impacts every business.
Oh, huge.
Workforce, education. So, there's not a lack of things. And then on the federal level, right, there's a lot happening. There's the 2017 tax cut that they're trying to extend or make permanent. So we're really watching that. And then obviously there's, it's kind of the fluidity of what's going on, right, and the impacts that could have. So the federal level, we're really watching as well right now and working closely with our partners at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And then, of course, local issues impact businesses, right? So it's really just doing our best to keep an eye and having good relationships so we can have good conversations about what's going on and maybe, talk through some of those things.
Absolutely. And the Chamber really has a lot of opportunities for businesses to get involved. Talk about some of the events that you do that really can allow sponsors and participants, business owners. I mean, what are some of those wonderful events? I mean, we mentioned ribbon cuttings, but I know you do so much more.
Yeah, we have, I feel like, a little something for everyone. So we have things that are called Business After Hours, which we have one tonight at Kendall Ford. And that's really an opportunity. It highlights a business. A lot of times, this one I believe is a trade show. So vendors, like people can come in and have a booth to promote their business, make networking. Yeah. But it's really a place where folks can come and meet each other, right? And like you said, that's where business sparks. That's where partnership sparks. So we do a lot of those sort of opportunities where it's solely connection to connection, right? This morning, we just did a breakfast with our superintendent of public education, Debbie Critchfield. That's through our elected officials forums. So we do a couple of those a year. We do business leader forums. We've got one next week with the new St. Alphonsus CEO.
Nice.
We do a gala every year, which is a pretty big event for us.
Yeah.
We do a leadership conference every year, which is always in Sun Valley. We have a theme. This year's theme is Idaho, or education and workforce development.
Nice. I've been to that before. It's phenomenal. It's so well attended and put on and organized, and you just learn so much and you take away so many great relationships. And I just remember being in the Sun Valley Hotel and just being able to talk to people that you may not otherwise always have access to right away, or, busy CEOs sometimes are hard to always just have that, connection. And it was just a phenomenal experience to go to that, for sure.
It really is a great event, and it's a great people to show up, and we have great programming. And I think by moving it outside of Boise, folks that are there, they can be more present. So that's
so
one
they're all
there,
in one place,
right?
there. Yeah, it's
you
a destination.
might see them in the gym or grabbing coffee, or you'll sit next to them, at one of the speakers, and it's a really great event.
Yeah.
We also do something too that's called Startup and Suds, where we go and recognize like a startup. Again, that's another great just networking opportunity. We do an event every year with Bogus Basin. We do a golf tournament every year. I mean, it goes on and on and on. How many events we go,
and not be like Sandy and break her leg. Poor Sandy.
I know her. I think it was maybe her
Bogus Basin,
but it was like her first couple days working at the chamber.
Yes, yep.
And had to get like ambulanced out. I know, poor thing.
I know. I've known Sandy for a really long time. I was part of when she actually got hired as the executive director of By Idaho as a board president at the time, and I just remember, having and helping her, welcome her there, and then just seeing her go on to the chamber was just a nice, beautiful movement for her. And
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She does a wonderful job for us.
We do have a lot of good staff.
We
for
do
sure.
have a great team.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that some of the staff have been there for a really long time too, and that speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
When you don't have, you have long-term loyal, employees, and I think Debbie's been there for a long time.
I think Debbie's 17 or 18. Deborah, who is our CFO, it'll be 18 years in March. Teresa, who does all of our, the business after hours and helps with the sales team and does a lot with the ambassadors. I mean, she's been there for quite a long time.
Well, and Paul, he's doing the podcast. I get to go on his show too, which is
I think
fun.
he hit 10, maybe it was 10 years last year. So we do. Yeah, we've got a lot of long-term, Clark, who runs BVEP, I think he's been there 15 years maybe.
Yeah. Seems like forever. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. When he was there too. So, one thing else that I have to talk about, because I helped start it, is Boise Young Professionals.
Yes.
I was one of the original, we started as a steering committee task force kind of thing. And I remember being pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And so my kids are now, 17, 19 years old. So it's been a while. But there was another gal that was also pregnant. So we co-chaired. We were the only co-chairs because we were both pregnant and thinking that we could both help each other out. And at the time we called it the Civic and Community Involvement Committee.
Okay.
I think they've rebranded it because it's really long.
Yeah.
But I remember one of the first events that we did to launch Boise Young Professionals is bringing an author, and we filled the Egyptian theater thinking, oh, maybe we'll get, a couple hundred. Oh, no. I mean, people wanted Boise Young Professionals so much. And then we did a political event called For the Love of Politics, otherwise known as FLOP. It was not a flop. It was really good. And then we did a speaker series, and we had, Micron's CEO at the time, Steve Appleton. We had, all the big names come and talk to all of these young professionals. And we had at the time Mayor Beater Unplugged, and then, next mayor kind of thing. And I love seeing what the young professionals are doing now. I kind of, I aged out, obviously, but I love to support that too, because it's a part of the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce. And it's just a nice feeder into attracting and retaining talent here and keeping them in Idaho. And that was part of the message this morning with the education and doing the things that need to be able to show and share and tell to young high school students and directly correlate it with jobs that they could keep in the Valley and stay in the Valley. And I love that message a lot. And that seems like Boise Chamber has a part in all of that too. Yeah,
our leadership programs are really phenomenal. And I think Boise Young Professionals, it's a great program for, you said it, you're growing, up and coming professional group, right? And, it provides opportunities for education, ways to kind of, invest in themselves and grow, but it's also a great connector. That's one of the things I really like about Boise Young Professional and Leadership Boise is it forces you to make connections with people you probably never would have met. And those connections is where partnerships happen, good ideas happen.
Or even couples come together.
Yes, and we have a ton of there's tons of stories. Last year, actually, at the leadership conference, I can't remember, it was during, I think it would have been at one of our events. It came up, and all these people were raising their hands that they met at BYP or they met at some chamber thing. It was, I was like, oh, I didn't know we were matchmakers too. But it's really important.
Like-minded people come together, and it's okay. It's a natural thing, right?
And
I guess it's better to say than you met in a bar or something, or I don't know.
And
maybe not.
I think too, for the younger, the BYP, it's a good opportunity for us at the chamber to get, executive CEOs in front of these individuals, because it lets these individuals too know what all their options are, right? And what the opportunity is in Idaho, whereas they're still young in their careers and they might change 2 or 3 jobs. They're not as established yet in their careers. And I think it's great to to expose them to the opportunities.
I've been a part of the Be Wise mentoring program where I've mentored younger people, young professionals, and it's really fun to see them grow and then now see them out in the community, see them, get their jobs, and they call me and ask for, career advice or things like that because they have a safe space, right? I'm not going to just, go tell their boss that they're looking for a new job or anything, but, guiding them and giving them some, like you said, just sharing and getting them connections to people that they maybe not already have connections to.
Yeah.
So just molding the next generation into our next leaders that are going to be here, and they already are. I mean, some of them are already taking that path, which is really cool to see. Yeah.
That's neat.
And now a message about one of our sponsors, Nadine West, which is awesome, affordable outfits that are delivered to your doorstep each month or however often you want it delivered. And each month features surprising new outfits that consist of items perfectly styled just for you. And you only keep what you love and then send the rest back free of charge. I absolutely love it. The things that they send me, I often keep more than not. And so for our listeners, if you sign up today using my link, you'll get $10 credit and free shipping on your first order. So go to peppershock.com/offers and sign up for Nadine West and get your $10 credit. I know you're going to love what Nadine West sends to you. I even get a personal message from her asking how everything's going. Anyway, so go to peppershock.com/offers and sign up for Nadine West. So let's talk a little bit more about if you become a chamber member, some of the benefits of what it means to be a Boise Metro Chamber or any chamber for that matter. What kind of things that kind of maybe some success stories that you've seen because businesses have become involved in the chamber, not just become members, but involved. What happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a range of things, right? And I think a Boise, like a membership to a chamber is different based on kind of your business makeup, right? I think a lot of our members, they love the community engagement part of it, right? They like being part of something that's supporting and promoting something bigger and better, right? Working together to keep the community the way it is, support the community. We have a lot of members that it's a great business development opportunity, right? Because we do provide so many networking opportunities where it is you can really get out there and sell your brand, make business connections. We hear those stories all the time, right? I can't tell you in, my past year and change that I've been here, how many folks, they met at an event and because of that, they're now selling a product, doing business. I mean, those stories are endless. I think the other thing that we can do too is create exposure, right? One of my goals is at the chamber is, we have a big network. And so how can we be, highlighting our members, promoting our members, spotlighting our members, making people aware of it. We did a board tour last fall. A company offered up a tour. And because of that, KTVB, who's on my board, made a connection and did an awesome segment about them, right? And so I think it's really just we can be a connector, a facilitator, right, and help advocate and promote. And so I think there are just a lot of different avenues where being part of a chamber can be really rewarding and valuable.
Well, speaking of KTVB, the NBC affiliate here in Idaho, we have participated in Media Day, where Leadership Boise comes and tours, or we go to them or do something of that nature. And, they come and check out all the different things that the different media and mediums have to offer. And it's fun to showcase, what we do, how we do what we do, and they get to ask questions. And then they move on to Channel 7 or KTVB, or they go to the Idaho Press, the newspaper in town. Right. And I'm sure they've gone to lots of other agencies and other places that they get to learn about. And that's what Leadership Boise is all about, right? It's just taking a day or two out of the month, right?
Yep.
And for 2 years, right?
2-year program.
Yep. Yeah, tell me a little more about some of the things that Leadership Boise does for people.
Yeah, so it's a 2-year program, and they do a government day, right? So I know they just did that. I think it was in January, where they spent the day at the Capitol and brought in speakers. They do a business day, like they do different business days, media day, and it gets them out, exposing them to they talk about the issues, but then they also get to see things.
And there's leadership training too,
there's
right?
leadership training.
Various different leaders in the Valley that are consultants and coaches and things like that, right?
Yep. And they're in I can't remember if they call them like a pod or whatever, like that's
cohorts or something.
Yeah. So I think it's like teams of 4 or 5, right? And so you really build, and so there's, I think, team activities within your own pod. But it's a program where they're, it's a, monthly, they're meeting a lot. There's a lot of things they do, and, networking and those sort of things. They usually too do a fun kind of retreat that unfortunately got, for last year, it got canceled at the last minute because, they do it up a place up in McCall. Yeah. And because of fires, they couldn't get up there. And so, but the team, they were so great, like,
hey, what can we do instead? Like,
right,
let's make it happen.
Figure it out. And
we had a camping trip, same thing, for all of our staff.
It was BYP. Yeah. BYP is the one that does the camping trip, and it got canceled. I got confused because, or no, maybe it was Leadership Boise.
Yeah, maybe
I think it was Leadership Boise.
Yeah. The same thing. So our staff, we always go camping every year. Yeah. Staff, spouses, kids, pets, dogs, whatever, and same thing. We had to like pivot, right? Yeah. And go somewhere else. We ended up floating the Boise River rather than going camping and hanging out, all day at the park kind of thing. But people can be,
I think it was Leadership Boise's opening retreat. Yeah. And so they pivoted and just did, they ended up staying in Boise and were able to get jump and just did a lot of fun activities. Yeah. But one of the things that I think is really fun when their first opening retreat is, so the class, you say who you are, but you don't say who you work for.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So and they do a whole activity where then like you try to guess at the end of, the little retreat. And I was like, I think that's really fun. Because, if you were to see, you gravitate to what you know, right? So if you see, this person does this, and, the goal of it is to make people just get to know you as you, and
not what you do, but who you are as a person. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I love that. That's really cool. Well, I think that there's so many opportunities for people to, and I advocate for the chamber all the time with our clients because we want them to get connected. And if they have sales staff or they are thinking about getting sales staff, go send them out. And you also do, I think you call it tips leads groups,
Yeah, there's the tips lead groups. We also do like the business education series, right? Yes. Where we bring in.
I've spoken. I've gotten to do that.
Yeah, I probably done one of those.
I did a culture and brand camp, and I felt bad because all of the staff had to give up their chairs because there was no more chairs left.
Well, that's
because
great.
We filled up the whole room, but it was awesome.
Well, and that's so those education opportunities for our members. Yeah. Because we have very big members and we have very small members, right? And so providing some education opportunities that they might not have access to, right, is a cool program. But then there's the tips groups. We have committees and councils. We have, I think, 6 or 7 committees and councils, like education, healthcare, financial services. And so they meet, some of them meet monthly, but most of them it's, quarterly or every other month.
Well, and those councils, it doesn't necessarily matter if competitors are on the council together because it's all about the education or, like you said, financials, and that's nice. Whereas the tips usually have only the specific category of industry so that you're not competing with somebody else who is in your industry or your competition, which I love that because, then it lets people become a little more vulnerable and open up and want to, make those relationships and connections rather than, well, who do I choose? There's 2 realtors in this group and I don't want to deal with that, So that's one thing I do appreciate about the tips. And I have to ask because when we very first started the business 21 years ago, it was 7 a.m. Please tell me you have other tips groups that don't always meet at 7 a.m.
I feel like a lot of them, they do lunch now.
No. Yeah, okay, good.
Maybe over the lunch hour. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. Once I started having kids, I'm like, I can't.
That does
I got to get
work.
kids to work, so or, to school and everything. So I kind of started opting out of those early morning meetings. Yeah. In fact, I was on the Nampa Chamber board, and I was the first one in the history of time that moved their meeting from 7 a.m. to noon. And now to this day, you go ask Mitch, the executive director or the president of Nampa Chamber, now they still have noon ones. Because if you want young people who have children, early morning
7
meetings
a.m.
is just
ridiculous.
hard because you have kids, right?
Yes.
I mean, you would know, right?
It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, and our committees and councils too, what I really enjoy about it is, we try to bring in a speaker every time that's, someone that, it's a valuable, information, but it's also a really great opportunity because then we have open discussion, what's on the banking industry, the financial sector industries, what's healthcare, what's small business, nonprofit, you just kind of get a good gauge of what's going on and if maybe there's some things we need to do to help. So they're a great opportunity to stay connected with what's going on in those specific industries.
Excellent. So what's on the horizon? What are some things that the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce is working on? What do you see a year from now, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now? Where is the chamber going?
Yeah, well, I think, we got to obviously, it's membership, so making sure we're maintaining and hopefully growing membership, right? But taking care of our members. I think one thing that we've really been engaged in this past year, and you'll see us be more engaged, is, community issues, right? Transportation. We're a growing community. It's not going to go away, right? And so I have a board that's really interested and engaged in, what do we do to start having the right conversations to start addressing transportation needs? Other thing is homelessness, right? Being engaged on some homelessness efforts of, obviously there's the humanitarian side of it, but then it's a business component, right? Part of the reason we have so many people coming to Boise for conferences and things like that is it's clean, it's safe, right? And so how can we be supportive in those efforts? So I think you're going to continue to see us focus a lot on being engaged in those community efforts. Last year we did something different with our gala. We, instead of bringing in an outside speaker, we decided to highlight something in the community. And so it was called Celebrating Creativity in the Community, and we highlighted the arts community. And so we had performances throughout the night.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, were you there?
Yeah,
and
it was beautiful.
We raised, I think, about $17,000 for the for the nonprofits engaged. We're going to keep doing that.
Nice.
I really think that the gala is a great opportunity for us to first highlight treasures in our community, but then make it an opportunity for us to give back. So excited. We've got a good partnership that we're not ready to announce yet for this year's gala,
okay.
but I'm very excited about that.
Do you have the date set?
We do, and it's September, end of September.
Yeah,
I can't remember when.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, yeah. I think continuing just to work on those things and constantly working on how do we continue to provide member benefits to our members, right? What is that, right? Like we've talked about marketing and media and what are some other things that we can do to really provide that value for our members and getting to understand what they need and how we can better support them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and like you mentioned, Treasure Valley is growing exponentially right now, it seems, and just keeping up with the new businesses and new, communities coming into town and the builders building and all of the things. And have you seen an influx more chamber members now than maybe years prior?
I think, membership is healthy and strong.
Good.
And I think, it's growth, right?
Yeah.
We've seen tremendous growth in the community. I think probably Nampa, Meridian, they'd all tell you the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's been a real priority for me is to partner with my Treasure Valley chambers.
Good.
We talk a lot about Mitch.
Yeah.
He's a great partner, and Sean and Travis. So we've been trying to do a lot together and get together regularly to talk. And
Travis Palmer, he's the president of the Caldwell Chamber now. He and I and 16 of us were also ones who helped start Boise Young Professionals. What goes around comes around.
Small world.
Yep.
So it's been really fun to get to know those guys and work with them.
Excellent. Well, I always like to give people an opportunity to shout out how they can get a hold of you, or if they're interested in any information about the chamber. What would you tell them to do?
If they are interested, I would suggest call the office, ask for Bobbi-Jo, or you can go on our website and shoot in an email. But yeah, reach out. We'd love to talk to anyone that may be interested in joining the Boise Metro.
And by the way, tell them that you heard it on the Marketing Expedition podcast, because they have a really great referral program.
Yes.
I got a $50 gift card to another chamber a restaurant, Chandler's, and thank you for that, because I recommended Pella Windows and Doors, and so then I got rewarded. I love to get rewards, so be sure and mention it. You heard it here.
Yes, of course. Please do that.
Well, and you guys also do Spotlight. You said Spotlight in your newsletter, right? Yeah. So you do some pretty cool things to reward people.
The newsletter and Spotlight magazine, and we've got. Yeah. I mean, again, it goes back. Go on and on and on. All the things we do.
Could. That's awesome. Right. And I know. Well, they'll have to go to the website and check it out. There's definitely a lot of things. Well, and speaking of the website too, we're listed on the website. I always get a report every year of how many people clicked on our website and all the analytics, which is really nice. And we've had that before. Oh, I saw that you were in the directory on the chamber website, and that's how we found out about you. So that's also
our
nice
directory is
thing.
really good, and our members are really good too about using other members, right?
Yeah.
If they have, catering need or whatever it may be, right? Folks are really good about looking at that list and using members when they can.
Yeah, I love that too.
Which is great.
Is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, Bobbi-Jo, that you'd like to share and tell, and kind of any last parting thoughts, or anything about the chamber, about you, anything that you would like to share?
I don't think so. Again, I just appreciate anytime I have the opportunity to talk about the chamber and promote what we do. I really appreciate that.
Excellent. All right. Well, for those of you listening, the best thing that you can do for Bobbi-Jo and I is share this with others that you know that need to hear what she had to say today, and give us a review, because that's like gold to podcasters. So review, ratings, rankings, all the things in any podcast form that you listen to, or on YouTube. This will be there as well. And until next time, everybody, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.